Hello, hello. All right, let's wait a couple of more minutes for everyone to get in here. All right. Can you guys tell me if you see me, hear me, see my screen? Oh, see the presentation?
All of it.
That'd be beautiful. Hello, hello. I see some people I know. Beautiful. All right. Let's give it a couple more minutes. So just for everyone that you know, we are recording this session. You can obviously turn off your camera if you don't feel comfortable with that, but otherwise you can leave it on. And I'm not the only one showing my face, but that's the way it is. I love seeing your faces, so please don't be shy, but just that you know, it will be recorded and then it will be sent to everyone that wasn't able to make it today, and obviously also for the people that were able to make it, like you. And you can go back and look at everything. Okay, thank you, Carla. I see that everything seems to be working. Cool. Um, all good, Ona. All good. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. Don't worry about not showing your face. It's good that you guys are here. Okay. We will shortly but slowly, I'll have a look. There's Matthew coming in. I don't have an assistant today, so I'll be the one going to see if I have emails of people being like, I can't join. So I'll be going through all of that, but I see that a lot of you have already made it. Beautiful. Welcome, Matthew. Good to have you here. And
Hello.
Jennifer dropping in. All right. I wish I had music in the background, but that's not how it goes right now. But all right, guys, tell me where you joining from at the moment or where you are right now. I know a lot of people have joined from my home country, Switzerland. Oh, there's another one from Switzerland. But I also know we have a couple of people from South Africa, from America, even I think a couple of my industry friends from Australia. So let's have a look where everyone's from. Ooh, Cape Town. Love it. Hi, Carla. Right, Ariane is here as well. Welcome. Hello, Nina. Well, a couple of weeks ago you were in Cape Town, but I know now you're in Zurich. Oh yes, Matthew, your new home, beautiful. And Ona is in her home atelier. I love it. Laura is in Switzerland. Love it. Switzerland. I love that. I sometimes call it Chiselland. Not so nice, but Switzerland, I like that one. Hello, Ariane. So nice that you're here as well. I love it. All right, let me check if there's some more people waiting. No, beautiful. Oh no, there is. Ooh, another one from Switzerland. Very nice. Everyone's dropping in. A lot of familiar faces. I love it, guys. It's good to have you here. Beautiful. All right, we'll start in a couple of minutes. I'm just waiting for everyone to be able to drop in. Okay, cool. No, that's not. All right. Cool. All right, if I think we'll slowly but surely start. What is it? Three past, yeah. If not, they can watch the recording. All right. We are going to start. I know there are a couple of people here from Switzerland and South Africa. So good to have you here. Actually, my two hometowns, not really, but I call South Africa my second home now, so it's okay. So welcome everyone to today's finance and pricing webinar. As most of you have already seen my pricing guide, obviously everything is based on that pricing guide and it's what it has inside of there. So we're gonna start, and obviously I'm gonna introduce myself because most of you know me. I'm Max. I'm a self-employed photographer and customer experience manager. You very rarely see me without an iced coffee, so that is definitely one of my favorite things I love to drink. And I also don't think that I do have bad days and I do have very bad times, but you rarely see me without a smile on my face. Before I got into full-time photography, I studied digital business management, which is a Bachelor of Science, and I've been working for, oh my God, more than 8 years. I was in digital marketing, digital business with kind of like a speciality, hate that word, for online shops and websites and got into customer experience management with that. Yeah, I would say I'm a realist, although I'm also kind of more on the like motivation kind of side. So although I want to see things as real as it is, also I'm like, ah, whatever, it's not that bad. Let's just do it that way. So that's kind of me. I love quality over quantity, always. Yeah, most of the time, always. And I'm an entrepreneur first, and then I'm a photographer second. I love my couch. I live on my couch, literally, either working or eating my popcorn. And I always love to go for a walk outside in the fresh air. Either here in Cape Town at the beach, everyone knows it. If it's not super windy, it's actually really nice. Or at my beloved Pfäffiker Lake in Switzerland. That's, I think, where everything good is happening at that lake. So, yeah. All right, guys. We are gonna start. Oh, there you go. Let's talk about money. That's what you guys are here for, right? Let's talk about money. Let's talk about one of these topics that you kind of don't want to talk about. I still think it's a taboo topic, especially in Switzerland. That's, I think, also why I want to talk about it. I grew up with not talking about money, not talking about salaries, not talking about rents, not talking about how much money do you put away? How much money are you investing? Are you investing? Do you even have money on your side? Do you even have a savings account? If so, how much do you have in your savings account? So I feel like although now I have a very healthy relationship with money, it definitely wasn't always like that. So I kind of, yeah, feel like it's very important in your private life, but obviously now also in our businesses, especially, all of you are self-employed businesses, self-employed people, entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs. So that's definitely something that's super important. Okay, today we're just gonna talk about finance and pricing. As you know from the pricing guide I've previously sent you, it's a simple finance strategy, and then we're going into pricing, but it obviously is based on top of each other. So one thing cannot work with the other, and we'll go through it why. Okay. The contents. Yeah. Simple finance strategy, pricing, how much should I be charging? And then obviously Q&As. I have received some questions of yours before. Some of them were going a little bit advanced into like other things, more into photography, more into wedding photography, or like very specific questions that I'm not at liberty to answer as of right now. For example, with taxes and with stuff like that, I am not a financial advisor. I don't think I can be with how I'm like, okay, let's do this, or like kind of like finding gray areas to do things. But what I'll be showing you today is just a simple way of how you can have a beautiful fundamental basis on where you can do your own finance strategy and be like, okay, do I have a good plan? Do I actually know how much money I spend on what? So that's what we're going to look at today in very as much detail as possible without boring you, but also for you to be able to take everything away that you want and need for your own business and your own business case. And as it varies from industries to countries and everything, that you can just take that and use it for yourself. Yes. All right. One of my favorite things to say, if they want it cheaper, they'll definitely find it cheaper. So do not undersell what you're actually worth. And this is also one thing of why I've decided to create my pricing guide. And obviously now with that, my finance and pricing webinar is that I've struggled doing my own prices. I've been angry with myself, but also with potential clients of saying I'm too expensive or exploiting me in kind of like different ways. I'm also angry with the price dumping that is going around, but I know it comes from not knowing how much you should be charging or having your clients determine how much you're worth. And I know that's a big thing. I talk to a lot of entrepreneur friends about that. It's like, how much am I worth? What if they don't want to pay for it? What if they want it cheaper? I mean, they find it cheaper. That's not the problem. The thing is just, do you want to work for less? Would they budge for their salary for less? Would they work for less? I don't think anyone would. So, yeah. All right. Now, one question, well, two questions I want to throw into the round right now. You can either answer them in the chat if you would like to share with the group, or you can just answer them for yourself. What is your biggest struggle when it comes to money? And what do you fear the most when it comes to pricing your services and your time? You can take a minute to quickly think about it, share it with the group or not. That's totally up to you. And think of, you don't have to think too deep. Just what is something that you struggle, like, yeah, when it comes to money? Maybe it's something that you struggle with in your private life and you take that into your business life, which is sometimes the case. And what do you fear the most when it comes to pricing yourself, your time, your services? You can definitely talk if you would like to. You can write it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share it with the group.
Spontaneously, I would say setting boundaries, like when
Wait,
you
we don't
are
hear you,
working
or I
and
don't
you,
hear you. Right?
that's weird.
You can hear her, okay?
I
Volume's
can
okay on
Oh
my
yeah,
end.
wait. Say it again.
I can hear Matthew.
There you go. It was me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
It was me.
perfect.
I was the problem, you see.
For my part, it's setting boundaries probably, just because you may have a contract, you set this amount of time you're working for your client for this budget, and when it's like just a small bit over the top, like when, yeah, like if it's 5 minutes, like nobody cares. But where is the line where you start your upselling process and where you charge more?
Okay. So kind of like setting boundaries, especially I know you're a wedding planner, so that's definitely a very big definition of can I call her at 3 a.m. in the morning and ask if we should go for these flowers or these flowers?
No, please don't. I
Okay,
won't answer your call at 3 o'clock in the morning if the house is not burning.
definitely. Okay, setting boundaries of what your services actually mean or like what they have, what it's included, hey?
Yeah, like when do you start charging more for extra services?
Yeah.
When it's like just a little bit, they start with just a little and then a little again. Like where do you set the line?
Cool. All right. Is someone else wanting to say something? Otherwise, I'll read the ones in the chat. Okay, so we have one from Carla. She says that I definitely fear judgment when it comes to my pricing for wedding photography. I often hear people starting wedding planning and being shocked at how much photographers ask. I can tell they think they're trying to scam them in a way. As a fellow wedding photographer myself, 100%. Oh my God, the eyes or the yeah, their energy shifts when you tell them, "Oh yeah, no, I charge $5,000 for a day of photography." And they're like, "You must be rich. How can you like take the money out of the people's pockets?" And I'm like, "Well, do you know how much a business costs? And it's not only like the hours you spend on the day, but that's the other thing. I fully
Yeah,
understand that it's the judgment that comes because people only see, oh, you work one day and you get so much money.
yeah. I decided I'll just quickly put my mic on.
Yeah, sure.
Um, it's always it feels like they think like, oh my word, that's like an exorbitant amount of money. How could you ask something like that for one wedding?
Hmm.
But it's as if they like forget there's people doing other jobs out there that
Hmm.
make millions every year.
Hmm.
Like there's so many different jobs out there. Like people make a lot more money than wedding photographers. So, like, why do I need to be judged when I say how much I'm getting? It's just
Hmm.
because other people don't say what their salaries are. And that's really annoying.
Yeah, yeah. I fully get that. I fully get that. And that's definitely something we're gonna look at later in the Q&A section. I think that's a good topic we can talk about. And then Ona saying, I'm afraid that if I charge what I need, feel is valid, it will be considered as if I'm not good enough to be charging that amount. Like I don't belong here and shouldn't even be in that room. And if I charge too little, I will also signal that I'm not good enough to charge more, that I'm an amateur and shouldn't play in this league. Absolutely valid. Been there. Still am here. Still am in that kind of like space. I also feel like just to quickly get into that very shortly, we're gonna definitely talk about it in the Q&A section, is that I think we
Imposter
also,
syndrome, right?
yeah, well, first of all, definitely imposter syndrome. Yes, I think we've talked about that, Ona. So that's definitely like one of the things. But also, what I figured out is that at some point, I also had a feeling I don't deserve that much money because sometimes my head and my anxiety and everything, ADHD, whatever, puts stuff in my head and my nervous system is like, why do you deserve that money? I mean, all you do is press a button. I know we don't. And I know, like, obviously, I'm talking as of a photographer right now. Or, for example, if you give knowledge, if you're a branding consultant or whatever, um, you have the knowledge. So why don't you just give it? Why do you need to charge so much? Sorry, I'm also like reading the stuff in the in the chat section. So yeah, so let's definitely get into that in the Q&A section later. So please keep those
Thanks.
questions. Um, and then when we're in the Q&A section, put them back into the chat. Otherwise, I'll miss them. Please. Okay, and then there's another one from Karin. For me, it's more a general problem. It's difficult for me to know how much do I charge when I have to include the SVR or the taxes, the insurances. Um, I'm creative, not good at math on pricing. So how much can I add to be in peace with my taxes and deductions? 100% gonna go through that today. And then, okay, cool. All right. that's definitely one thing we're gonna cover in the next couple of slides that I've prepared for you. But keep some of the questions for you that you think you really, really want to also hear everyone else's opinion on that, because I do feel, and that's also why I love to hop on a call with everyone and go for coffee and talk about it. And some of you know do a lot of networking, and discuss everything over a cocktail or something because life deserves it. Is that we are not alone. All of us struggle with it. And although I am right now sitting here telling you something about finance and pricing, doesn't mean I'm the pro at it. Doesn't mean I don't have imposter syndrome. Doesn't mean I sometimes do things for free as well, because I feel like this is where I want to put my effort right now and my passion. And it doesn't mean that I've got to figure it out. I just know that this has helped me immensely, and other people that I've mentored in that area, to be like, okay, cool. I'm figuring out where I am with my pricing, but this helps me so much to understand if I go less, I won't be able to literally pay rent. So do I really want to go down with the price? And I think sometimes we need to put it in perspective. All right, on to the next one. All right. As we a little bit discussed a little bit, is it's definitely all about the mindset. And that talking about money is a good thing. And as I've mentioned before, none of us would work for free. And I'm not saying you guys here, but also the clients. If it doesn't matter if you B2C or B2B, none of them would do a month's worth of, sorry?
Hi. I was worried. You were worried. It's okay.
Okay, sorry, just had to mute someone. I think there was a kid talking. I don't think they want to know anything about money. So sorry, the chat trying to do two things at the same time. So yeah, I definitely think that none of them would do even a week or even a day's like worth of work for free. No. But obviously for them to talk to us and like being like, okay, but what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we give you free coffee? Cool. So cool. I can also get that at home, kind of. So let's definitely keep that in mind, that none of us would work for free. All right, so there's something that Celine Weierman said at a Money Mindset webinar the other day, and some of you know, I think some of you have attended her webinar as well, and I think this is something so good. It's hard, it's easier said than done, but it's so good what she said. She said that don't base your self-worth on money. We need to understand that money is just a tool that enables certain freedoms. Let's start, and that's the part that I love so much. Let's start to de-emotionalize the topic of money. It's simply just a medium of exchange. Money has no feelings, and money has definitely no soul. So I think that's easier said than done. But that's definitely something. Money does not determine. I mean, something that you said, Ona. It does not make your work less worthy or more worthy. It's just an exchange tool. I know it's very hard because our time and the product and everything is kind of connected to the price, but we really, really, for our sakes, we cannot control what our clients or future or potential clients are thinking, but we, for us and for our sake and our peace of mind and hopefully restful sleeps. And we really, really have to de-emotionalize the topic of money. And I'm saying this super easily, but I struggle too. So just putting it out there. All right. And then one thing that goes a little bit into the other direction, no one is waiting for you, but you do not owe anyone your business. It's an invitation, and a beautiful invitation, to be working with every and each one of you. It is not mandatory. Just because you're sending out quotes or you're having your stuff online and you're offering your service, it's a beautiful invitation. But it's definitely not a thing of, hey, I want this, do this for me for this price. No, no, we do not owe anything to anyone. So keep that in mind. It's a beautiful invitation. that you can also say no, or you decide. You are in control. And I know sometimes you think you need it financially, and then you to see, do I really need it, or will it bring me so much headache if I say yes to this now? Because you do not owe anyone your business. All right. We're going to start with the simple finance plan. As you've already seen in the pricing guide, this is actually obviously the structure of the pricing guide. So this is something that I've learned is so important to me. And after all of the talk that we had, I'm also going to send you an Excel sheet where you have all of this in there. So I'll give you an Excel sheet with all the calculations for you to actually put everything in there, and it then does its magic and calculates it for you. So, but I will still want to go through this because I feel like it's very important. But the first and most important thing in the beginning is that this is just a basic financial plan. The percentages are coming from me because this has worked for most of the businesses I work with and I help. But it can vary greatly from business to business, from industry to industry, and obviously from country to country based on taxes or how you do your insurance stuff, how you do everything else. So this is just a very good basis for you to go on and know, okay, how do I need to do this? So obviously we have the 40% necessary annual income. We have the cost of business, we have the marketing and education, and we have the insurance and reserves, which then equals the required annual revenue. And I hope you guys know the difference between revenue and income. The income is what you want to take away for you personally, and the revenue is what your business makes a year, a month, whatever per job. So this is a big difference. And maybe Carla, that's also something regarding you saying, oh my God, I make, I don't know, like 50,000 Rand per wedding. Well, this is what your business makes. What are actually you taking away from that? But that would be, hopefully, in a best case scenario, the 40 or even 60% annual income. So yeah, let's go to the necessary annual income. This later in the Excel sheet. You can also write it down if you want to, but I'll definitely send you this presentation and the Excel sheet so you'll have it. The necessary annual income is your fixed costs of living. That means your rent, whatever belongs to that, your private health insurances, and however it's done in your country. Obviously, in Switzerland, we have the private health insurance, we have the stuff for the house. I don't even know what it means in English. And we have like different fixed costs that it doesn't matter how much I work. This is always going to be the same. Then we have the variable costs such as food, hobbies, holidays, and obviously being Swiss, very important, we have the savings. We have savings just for the sake of savings, but savings for bad times, for big investments, for holidays, for a car, hopefully for a down payment for a house maybe someday. So savings also go into the necessary annual income for your private savings. We're not talking about business savings. We're talking about private savings. That makes the 40% in this scenario. Then the cost of business. I think that is something that a lot of people never really know what this includes, but I feel like if you really go deep down into your business, you know exactly what you need and what you have what you use on a regular basis. So we have the fixed costs. The fixed costs there have nothing to do with how many jobs you do a year, it has nothing to do with the jobs itself. It just means this is what you need for you to be able to do your job. Just for you to be able to sit here and immediately have a client, onboard them, and do the job. This means subscription, such as, for example, right now, I have a Zoom subscription, or I have a Calendly subscription, I have my Lightroom subscription, I have my Office subscription with all the emails and everything. So this is something that I pay regardless of me getting jobs or not. Same with utilities. You'll have your office space if you get jobs or not. You'll need to pay your internet bills or your bank expenses bills. If you have a bank where you pay yearly or something, this is all something that you pay regardless of you doing a job for a client or not. Same thing with equipment. You need your laptop, you need your camera, storage, anything that you need. If you have an iPad, if you're a graphic designer, or if you have a big printer, I mean, you need to have that even before you can start any of the client jobs. And then obviously other things as work clothing and very important, a bookkeeper and a tax person. I call them tax person. So that's also very important because it doesn't matter how much money you make, you'll need them. Obviously, it varies a little bit of how much work you have. So how much work does the bookkeeper have and how much work the tax person needs to do in order how big your business is. But you still need to pay them and it still needs to be on your books. Yeah. And then we have the variable costs, which is something that you need or based on the jobs you do. So that means packaging, postage, printing materials such as business cards, prints. We have food and beverages like on the job while you're, during your normal work hours or during client jobs. If that means if you need to go and visit them, if you're on a wedding, whatever. So this is something, I mean, you need to get paid for that. So you need to have that in there. Obviously, it's very hard to calculate that before, but I mean, you can have an estimate of how many jobs you want to do or like how much you roughly pay for a coffee and you'll get one coffee per wedding or one coffee per client visit and you need to pay that. So you kind of can work it out. Rather more than too little. In these cases, I don't think it will be very fatal. The fixed costs are definitely way a bigger portion in this scenario now, but you know your business better and you know what you spend and hopefully you know what you spend on what, and then you can kind of make your own plan with that. Then we have marketing and education. This is obviously based on different business cases, but I mean, you need to pay for Facebook ads, marketing manager if you have one, or a copywriting manager if you have one. Maybe you pay for Pinterest ads or some of the wedding industry peeps, they know style shoots. This all goes into marketing. This is money that goes into marketing, and then later on you'll see it's also time that goes into marketing. And then obviously we have education, such like online courses and workshops, which is necessary in order for you to evolve, keep your high standards, like keep your high quality of work, and obviously also try out new things in order for you to be able to either say, no, I'm never gonna offer that to my clients, or I'm definitely gonna offer that to my clients. But somehow, somewhere, it needs to be written down, it needs to be calculated. And then one thing that I learned in the last couple of years is super important, which is networking. Not only for the friendships or the connections that you'll do, it's also actually really good to know you're not alone. You're not in this alone. And it's like cool to have a little bit of fun while working. So yeah, so definitely like memberships or events or anything that is available either regionally or things like that. Yeah. And then we come to one thing that is, I think, also one of the biggest portions, which I'm gonna say goes to nothing. It's like no cool fancy drinks at events, no cool new gadget, no coffee on the road. It's literally just going away. But you'll love it and you'll need it when you need it. So this is fixed costs, such as insurance for your equipment, for yourself, when you can't work anymore. So that also depends on in the country that you're in, what kind of how your system works I'm in Cape Town, but I mean here in Switzerland. Obviously, my business is in Switzerland, so you need to have all of that. And for me, that's definitely around 15 to 20K a year with all of that together. Because it doesn't matter how much I make, my equipment needs to be insured. It doesn't matter how much I make, I still need to pay that insurance for what if I have an accident and I cannot work anymore for a couple of years. So that's definitely something that is very important. And then obviously retirement protection. That again totally depends on which country you're in and how your country makes it or like handles it. But that's also like a big bunch of money that should go away because yeah, for Swiss people, either you have the third pillar or you are independently part of a pension plan. So I, for example, maybe soon will join a pension plan, but for now, I put a lot of money into the third pillar. A lot of money. How much I would, even more than I would pay for the pension, because I really, really want to be sure that I will not lose out when I'm done with work. I mean, not anytime soon, but you definitely have to look out for that. Then obviously taxes doesn't like it, like taxes you pay or VAT or whatever. So definitely have that in there as well. Obviously, this is a variable, but maybe just work out how much revenue you need per year, and then you can make out how much taxes and then your annual salary, and then you know roughly how much you need to put aside for taxes. And then the reserve, the backup money. That's, I think, something that is very, very important. It's definitely good and necessary to have a really, really good cash flow going, because it comes, it goes, money goes and comes anyways. It's just a tool, right, guys? So that's definitely something that comes and goes. But I feel like we should have at least 10% of our annual revenue should be reserved. It should be put aside for if something goes wrong, if you need to make a big investment, or if you really have, rough times where you book no clients. And that's something we need to calculate, because otherwise we'll have a financial existential crisis, or however you want to call it. So definitely you have to have that in there as well, just for your own sake. And just that you know you have it there. Like, for example, me, I never go underneath 10,000 Swiss francs on my business bank account. If I do, my anxiety is fucked. But I don't. So I really, really try to maintain that. And I maybe skip out on a couple of networking events or another membership that I would like to be part of, just to keep that. And I think that's good for our sanity. Yeah. So this is everything that makes up the 100% of our annual revenue. So this is one example with the percentages of the simple finance plan that I want to give to you today. All right. We have gone through how much we should charge, how much we should charge, how much the government charges us, and how much we pay for everything else. So now we're going to go through how much should I charge. So, I mean, even with before, please never forget there's no right or wrong, and everything is a process and a journey. I mean, and we're never truly finished. I mean, I think 4 different kind of best case, worst case, real case, wannabe super case scenarios in my Excel sheet, just for me to go through and maybe dream a little bit unrealistically, but also get myself back to the ground and be like, okay, cool. If I sell my packages like that, this is where I can go. This is how much I can invest in marketing and stuff like that. So it's all connected. It might be super overwhelming right now, but it's definitely all connected. And once you've had time to settle and like get everything into your head, and maybe also have the Excel sheet and the presentation later, you definitely will hopefully then go through it again, maybe sleep over it a night, and then you can look at it again. All right. So there are 3 ways to determine your pricing. There is industry standards, also called comparison, if what is common in my industry, what is a fellow vendor or a fellow entrepreneur charging, how much do they sell their products for, how much do they sell their services for. There's the gut feeling. What does my heart say? What is my intuition? I think that's something that most of us also a little bit struggle with, or definitely have in our back head. And then there's the cost calculation. Obviously, that's what we're here for. What do I need per project? What is behind my financial planning in order for me to get what I need? So these are the 3 ways. And what I felt was really, really good for me is that I have the base, which is my cost calculation, that I know how much I need. I know this is what I need. I can't really work for less unless I see anything else coming from it. For example, my gut feeling saying, ooh, but that could be really nice for my portfolio. but is it not only nice, but also really good? And can you get more clients with that? Is it also a project, a photo shoot, a wedding, a whatever, a graphic design project that you were like, okay, cool, I can make so much with this. I'm going to over deliver and then sell the shit out of it for future clients. Or it's literally just, yeah, industry standards. You, again, don't feel like you can charge more than someone else, but you know that they have quoted less than you. I've definitely also been confronted with this where I realized that I'm charging more than the people I look up to. And that was a very hard realization for me. But then there was the question, are they charging too less, or am I really charging too much in comparison to them? So that's definitely something that it's a little bit of a ping pong of those three combinations, but I love to have my cost calculation as the base and the fundamentals for me to know how much can I go up or how much can I go down, and I have a little bit of a wiggle room there. Okay. We have the average distribution of your total working hours. And I think that's something that is very important because we usually charge, if we charge good, we charge for the client projects, like the time that we have spent on the project. And then sometimes the CEO tasks, I'm going to explain what that is in a second, and they get left on the table because we don't really think about it, because obviously we're all very passionate. We love what we do. We want to thrive. We want to push our business forward. But then these are kind of like, they get forgotten. So the next couple of slides, you'll see it's an average. I'll always talk about an average because it's very hard to say. I mean, I could have done it in yearly money and yearly work, but I think it's a little bit easier doing it month by month, but this is just an average. Maybe you are working in a business or an industry where it's seasonal. I definitely do. So I know that I make a lot of money between May and September, but that needs to pay as well for October to April. So I need to have that in my mind. So I actually actually think it's more ideal for me and how I think if I do it monthly. So I know, okay, if I have an average of income a month, I'm good for the whole year. And I'm not stressing if I'm sitting in Cape Town making no money. But I mean, I'm sitting in Cape Town, so I can't say anything. Yeah, so the workload and time commitment per client project. This is, and that's very important, this is from the very first contact. Doesn't matter if that's a message on Instagram or literally a contact, like a friend of that person is contacting you to inquire about it, and then you send all the details. It literally starts there. The very first contact point, or the very first contact you have with the client, to the very last task that you need to do for the project to be completely done. For me, for example, that's a little package, or like I sent them prints of the photos and a little card, and that usually is it. That's like, okay, project done, I'm good. I get a gold star, kind of like that way. So I also want to give you a task for later, because I feel like most of us don't know what actually goes into each and every project. And I mean, like looking for inspiration when a person or when a client, when a company, when whoever gets in contact with you, even if you get inspired and you love what you do, this is still work that goes into that project. So please write down how much time you spend on each task for a project, even if it's 5 minutes, because mentally it's never 5 minutes. I maybe have 5 minutes to write an email, but I've been working on that email mentally for 15 minutes. And that's what I put down, 15 minutes. Because that's something that we forget. We might not be physically working, but our brain is definitely kind of like thinking about it, or talking to a friend about it, or talking to a colleague about it. So yeah, this includes everything: preparation, follow-up work, even like the follow-up emails. That's still work. If you calculate together, it definitely is. And then, yeah, discussing meetings, mood board, everything, literally everything. And then you know how much you have per client project. If you have different projects, like I have big weddings, small weddings, personal branding shoots, big ones, small ones. Do it for every and each project so you know what is the smallest, like the smallest package or the smallest project you have, how much time do you spend for what? Not in order for you, I mean you can if you see something you're like, why do I spend so much time there? I need to optimize this. But I actually like that task a lot, that exercise, because it makes you more aware of how much time you spend for each client project. And then please also write down everything you do. Everything you do that is not directly connected to a project, to a client project you're working on right now. Maybe if it's potentially yes, but if you have not received the deposit or no signed contracts, then I don't really consider it a confirmed client project. Because these are the CEO tasks. The CEO tasks are website work, research, inspiration, marketing, bookkeeping, networking, everything. Everything. All the emails you write that are not directly connected to a project, to a client project, this is CEO works. And it, at the end of the day, also needs to get paid somehow. Otherwise, we'll leave a lot of time, effort, and money on the table. And I think we all deserve to get paid for everything. Same as if we'd be employed. I mean, there you even get paid for coffee breaks. Or you can go to the toilet on company time. It's cool. So, yeah, so please also task for later. Obviously, this will take a while. So just go through and write everything down and be realistic about how much time you actually spend on the project, on the client project, and the CEO tasks. Okay. Now, I know a lot of information. We're getting to the monthly revenue and turnover. So for me, it was very easy to say, how can I figure out how much do I need to make per year? How much does my business need to make per year? I started with how much do I need, which are the 40% in my example. That means if I need $2,500 per month to survive, that means my business needs to make $6,000 a month. Same with if I need $6,000 a month to survive, my business needs to make on average, obviously, $15,000 a month. Oh no, now I see it's annual salary. Sorry, that's monthly. Sorry, guys. So that's monthly. It's monthly required salary. Yeah. Okay, then the simple pricing calculation. This is something that I've gotten a lot of questions about, and I do understand why, because in my brain it makes total sense. But to explain it, it's a little bit of a different situation. So, in order to make out how much you spend per client or how much you, in average, should charge per client, is we go back to how much revenue do I need monthly, which is, for example, in that example, is $6,000. And how much can I work per month for someone that, yeah, it's like 80 hours. And what is the average workload per project? In this case, 24 hours. That means the average revenue per project is roughly $2,500. And I have oh, sorry. Yeah, and this is the calculation for it. So you have 24 hours, 25 hours, which we said is just the work you have on a specific client project, which is the 70%. So you need to calculate that up to 100 because you need somehow and somewhere you need to have those CEO tasks worked into it. And the average, you can still figure it out how much it is for you. But for me, the CEO tasks are actually 30% of the overall work I do because I work a lot of in my business, like on my business. And it's just like, it's a lot of work, a lot of bookkeeping, a lot of marketing, a lot of working out new things, a lot of website maintenance and stuff like that, a lot of networking. So it's definitely needs to be calculated up. You can still determine later how much that means for your own case, for your own business, but in that example, it's 70 to 30%. So that means the actual work on average you have for that client is 35.7 hours. And as we said, you have 80 hours that you have a month that you can and want to dedicate to work. So that means you can take on average 2.25 projects per month. So that means in order for you to get that revenue, that monthly revenue of $6,000, you need to charge an average of roughly $2,500 US. I hope that makes sense. Does it? Obviously, it's average and average day and average DAW. It's never just like a pinpoint because obviously you'll have more or less work depending on the client, depending on the project. But I feel like to have an average to know how much you on average need to charge and on how much time on average you spend on a project already helps immensely. Same with if you work 160 hours a month and your projects are bigger. So if you have 50 hours on a client project, which equals to 72 actual hours working, which then again equals to 2.25 projects a month. But because you work more and you spend more time on working, you obviously also need a little bit more money, or even it doesn't actually matter. You can also say I need 15,000 US dollars a month with 80 hours. Then obviously you need to charge way more per project. But then that is an average of roughly 6,500 US dollars. I hope that makes sense. Does anyone right now, just for that, because we have it open right now, have a question? Maybe not. Okay, good. Then otherwise, you can also still write down your questions for later. Okay, cool. This was the big bunch of how to calculate your pricing on a strategic basis. So I know it's a little bit of okay, it's just numbers, but it literally is just numbers because it's just numbers. As we said, money has no feelings. Money has no soul. It's literally just numbers. And at the end of the day, all what your landlord needs, what the grocery store needs, what the insurances need, they need your money or they want your money. Maybe they don't need it, but they definitely want your money in order for you to continue living, continue working. So that's how, based on everything else, how I calculate of how much I need to make per project. And then afterwards, I can still decide either with the gut feeling or with the industry standard of how much I actually wanna charge. Yeah. So there's a little cheat sheet. I think you've already had one in the pricing guide. It's just because you love your work and do it with passion doesn't mean that you should do it for less money or the same price someone else's charges. I don't know if you guys have heard these things as well from potential clients saying like, hey, this and this company, this and this person can do this and this cheaper. Can you please match the price? It's cool for them that they charge that price, but it's not how you do it because you're so unique on how you do your things. It doesn't even matter if you think or if they think the other people have more value or do it better or whatever. I mean, they can go and book the other person. It means that you should be paid for what you do and what you're worth because you do a lot of work and you do it with passion. Even if you do it without passion, you still should be paid for your work. So it doesn't actually matter. I mean, there's so many people out there that get paid shitload of money for a job they don't do with the passion, or they're passionately angry about the job that they're doing. So don't let that be too much in your head. And one thing that helps me a lot also, when I want to be mindful how I go and buy things or inquire for services or go and shop. I It's not too expensive. It just exceeds the proposed budget. Or how I like to say it's out of my budget. It is just out of my budget. So although you might be too expensive for someone or the company, I always also say like, I'm so sorry, I don't fit in your budget, or I'm so sorry that I don't fit into your pre-designed budget. But the reality looks a little bit different. So that's definitely something that I think is very good for us personally, but also in order to come out there, we're not too expensive. We're just out of their budget. Um, and then one very important thing, because I feel like we live in a society full of discounts and full of, oh, you get that half price off and all that Black Friday nonsense. And if you sign up, you get 10%. It's a very thin line between, oh, cool, a little bit of a bargain, let's do it, and oh my God, I want everything for free. So I would be very mindful of if you don't want to attract discount people and work for less money, because if they want a bargain, they get a bargain. And if you propose a bargain, and if you obviously offer your services for less or with like, hey, there's 20%, you will attract those discount people. So I would really, really be careful of how you promote and communicate your work. I mean, I'm not saying you're not allowed to give discounts, but it needs to be a good reason. It's like, hey, if you book 2 projects, my administrative work behind the scenes gets a little bit smaller, so that's why I give you 5%. But it makes no sense that out of nowhere you can just offer your services 50% less or 20% less. Where's that money going to? Or where's that money coming from? So I would definitely keep that in mind. And maybe also navigate and find a way for you how you want to give a nice incentive to people, and give back to people without kind of like make your work and your products less worthy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And something that we said before with the people like working out there for way more money, but there are literally people out there who are twice as successful, hate that word again, successful, with half of the talent that you have. I really think that you should believe in yourself and your work, because people out there are. I'm also one of the very fortunate people having people out there believing way more in me than I do. And I really, really want to take that energy and hopefully feed my own soul and nervous system with that. I'm not saying you should fake it till you make it. Definitely not. But if you've never tried, if you've never gone out there, if you never quoted that huge amount of money that you deserve, how do you know it's not going to work out? So I think, yeah, we should definitely go out there and do it. Maybe also work on projects you don't want to do. Just charge double. And then if they still want you, you're like, cool, didn't want to do that project, but now I got double the money. So maybe more with corporate stuff. But yeah, definitely do that. Okay, cool. So this is the end of our little chat or like little monologue of mine today. I will launch my customer experience management mentorships by the 1st of May. So if you want to stay subscribed to the newsletter mailing list that you all are a part of right now, stay subscribed and then see how I can help you. There will obviously be different offerings and services in order for you to pick what you need and what you want and how much you want to invest as well, obviously. So yeah, that's it. Are you guys? I know that was a lot. It's a lot of talk with numbers and being like, you deserve it, you do it. I'm not a motivational speaker at all, but I think sometimes we need to hear it, even if it's maybe 10 times. So let me know what kind of questions you have, if there are questions, or if you need a little breather and a little break of my voice. So, yeah, the stage is yours.
have maybe just a little input, because there was a question in the beginning about, yeah, that the couples feel scammed because
Mm.
photographers have I say, valuable price, but they are not used to that. And as a wedding planner, I always tell the photographers that I work with that they don't just send a quote 10 hours coverage for like 5,000 or whatever, that it's your responsibility as well to list all your tasks, what you're doing, how many hours you're spending, and what is the price for that? Because I see it so many times that you have packages 5 hours for this thousand amount of money, 10 hours for that, and that every photographer or every vendor list exactly what are the services that you provide for the couple so that they see the whole picture, because it's not their fault that they don't know about it. It's our job to educate them.
Definitely. That's a very, very good part that goes already kind of like over the pricing into like the customer experience part. You are responsible to show them I mean, you shouldn't scream at them, be like, this is my value. Definitely not. If they want to see your value, they will, but you have to make sure that it's there. That it's there, that the packages that you offer or the projects that you do, the quotes that you send out, that it's clear what is included. Because it's clear that if you work out a new brand design, that it's not just I'm gonna say like a logo or like a presentation that comes with it. No, it's literally you putting research in there. It's, I mean, also how long you've been doing this, or maybe ask your community or your past clients what they loved about working with you. And you literally get the answers of what to put in there, saying, I have this detail-oriented mindset that lets me create these incredible brand designs that not even the client would have thought of, or like that they need that, or that's how they perceived, or whatever. Like get a little bit out of there and put it into the package. So, or like the quote. That's definitely a very, very good point. Thank you, Ariane. That's very, very good. Anyone else? Don't be shy. I've had lunch, so I do not bite. So,
That's a new one. I like it. Um, no, I just wanted to add from my experience of like working in companies and everything. From a pricing perspective, you still can get people that come and say like, why are your products so expensive, but more like wanting to know what is the value they're going
yeah,
to get for the price that they're going to pay. So understanding what your value is and like why you are setting that price point, what is it that you're offering them, is if you can give them that explanation and share your kind of value statement to them, I think that's what will help to set you apart from everyone else.
definitely. Very, very good point. And I think that all goes together. If you know how much you need to charge in order for you to dedicate your time and expertise to each client, and then obviously knowing what you're good at, putting that all in a quote, it also, or like if they ask like, hey, why do you charge
Mm.
$10,000 for like a whole new website? It's like, well, and also that, I mean, that maybe also goes with that thing. I love that saying, you don't pay me for the 10 years I learned it to do. You pay me, sorry, the other way around. You don't pay me for the 30 minutes it takes me to do it. You pay me for the 10 years it took me to perfection what I do. And I
Mm.
feel like that is very, very important.
Mm.
And maybe that's also like one of the points you can then give the client if they're like, why is it so much money? I'm like, well, do you want the expertise, or like I don't know. Do you want to actually know how much time I spent? I mean, I think the one thing is also important. It depends on how the clients ask, because there are people that are like, hey, why do you like how do you come up with this price? Or there are clients that are like, what the fuck? Why do you charge this much? Are you crazy? I think they're two different sides. But obviously, if someone asks like the first one, being like, hey, how do you come up? It's out of curiosity. It's out of not knowing. It's out of, and I used to get triggered so much if someone was like, what? How do you do that? And now I'm like, hey, business, if you know how to run a business, you know that this is how much you need. But before I was like, you have no idea. I spent so much time on this and this and that. And no, it's just wasted energy. Yeah. But obviously, like sometimes there are definitely things that still trigger you, even now after, oh my God, 10 years in the not wedding industry, but as a photographer, it's just, yeah, there are still some people that can trigger, but I guess that's normal. Yo. Okay, anyone else? Anything about I think Ona had one. Yeah, but how do you with the thing of can I say it? Where is it here? Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, yeah, if you charge too much or if you charge too little. I feel like everything that we've said now, what Ariane said, what Matthew said, like in order for you to be, I mean, you know what you do and you know what you're good at. And I mean, you don't even have to charge money for a service to be a professional, to be a pro at it, because that's not defined by how much you charge or that you charge. It's defined by how you do the job and how much quality and how much work you put in there, I guess.
I have an example for this. I had a client from a Swedish brand, and I was supposed to take photos here in Switzerland, and I calculated my price in a very, I think, transparent way. And felt that this is very close to my reality, like this is what I would want to be charging, and this is what I'm worth, and I delivered a lot of photos. That in the end it was a bit frustrating with this client, but anyway, I know that they are hiring foreign photographers, Swedish photographers that they have close relations with. They know them since a long time, and they work closely with these Swedish photographers. And I also know that these Swedish photographers charge maybe a third or half of what I would charge. I'm relatively new as a photographer. I'm not established. I don't have many other brands that I can show my experience with, but I'm charging in a way that they might never ever ask me again, even if I think that I'm still, it was a fair deal. And that really bothers me, because I now it comes with a third like perspective on this issue of, do I charge too little? Then they will be really happy, but I'm not going to be happy. They might ask me again to do this high-end brand shoot with them. I'm very conflicted in this specific like job that I did, because it bothers me even like half a year later.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because the price, like that's obviously my interpretation now, because the price or the money that you quoted or wanted to charge was determined by if you're worth it or not. But I mean, I understand that, because Swedish photographers, or the photographers that you usually book, are like 1/3 of what you charge, but it has nothing to do with you. If they want the Swiss quality that Ona brings to the table, this is what they have to pay. And I feel like I truly understand. I have similar experiences, but I feel like you just answered your own question in a way of why maybe you should continue doing it the way you were doing it and not care about the others, because you won't be happy with it. They might be happy with it, but you won't. And I feel like that is way more important than you getting the job, especially if you don't want to do it for the same price again. I mean, maybe it's like just the easy answer now, and it definitely
maybe
nags
it's
us.
I have the chance to do like reverse psychology with them. So if I charge what I think is valid, I will always be happy if I get paid that much. And I'm doing all the other photographers a service of the
Yeah.
brand, thinking, oh my God, oh, this other Swedish established super photographer, she's charging half. Maybe she's not as good. Let's ask the Swiss girl instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very funny that you say that. I've actually got inquired by a high-end brand. I'm talking high-end. I think it was one of those bag brands. I don't know. I don't wear designers, but one of those for like a little store that they opened in Geneva. And I quoted them, obviously, with driving out to Geneva. I had to sleep there because the event was in the evening, yada, yada, yada. It was, I don't know, a quote of maybe like 7,000 francs. And then she came back and was like, what? We usually pay $1,000, like 1,000 Swiss francs for someone to come for the whole night. And I was like, wow, guys, this is a really good deal. Is the quality good? And she's like, well, it's good enough. I'm like, then never change the photographer because I would never work for that money. And then she's like, really, you would never? I'm like, I would never work for that. Would not even cover my way to Geneva and back. I mean, I'm sitting in the train or in the car for 3, 4 hours. Like, no, it wouldn't even like. Have you paid hotels in Geneva in Switzerland? It's like $250 a night if you don't want to sleep on the street. So it's like, I would
got her thinking.
It got her. She's like, okay, I got it. Yeah, if we have something really good, I'll get back to you. I'm like, cool, I'll wait. I really made her also appreciate that what they have is a steal of a deal. And if that photographer is keen to work that way, and if it aligns with the quality they need, they should never change photographers. But then she came back and she was like, she's actually having trouble finding anyone doing it for less than 3K. And I was like, well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's the mindset. That's the good mindset we should
maybe
take off.
But it's definitely like, I mean, I understand the whole conflict of, oh my God, what if I don't book it? And then I have, what if then I'll only have like 20 clients a year? Cool. What if you have 20 incredible clients a year that value you, value your time? You love working with them, not for them. You love working and creating with them instead of having 50 clients a year thinking, shit, I actually need more time. I actually want more money. I actually cannot do this all at once because you have so many clients in order for you to pay the bills because you're selling your services to less. So I always feel like if someone says, no, I'm out of their budget, I'm like, all good. All good. I rather, because I know it's a shitload of money, but also it's a shitload of work we put in there.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you very much, Ona. By the way, being one of my brides, I love it.
Yay. You're my screensaver.
Oh. I was like, me? No, of course not me. Beautiful. Does anyone else have a question or maybe they want to share a personal, obviously, business experience or anything that they've struggled with? I definitely feel like this is a safe space, but you also have to feel that way. So please feel free to share or not share or ask more questions.
I have a question. In fact, what do you think about, I always do all my work like by myself. I don't use AI. So what do you think? How do photographers who use AI to make some processes more faster, how do they justify their pricing? What do you see a conflict there, or what is your opinion? If we think this way,
if it's the same quality and in order for you to have a more chilled life, 100%. But if the quality is not good enough, then no, because I feel like, so I saw a reel the other day and I feel like this is very good. I mean, they use AI to be faster, right? To be faster with culling, with editing, with whatever is out there. So they're faster, but their work is still the same. Their work is still super worthy. It's super good. It's high quality. It's still very, very good. So the question is, just because you're good enough to use AI the way you want to for you to be faster, does that mean you deserve less money?
I
It's still good. I mean, imagine you charge more because you take so long. No, you still charge the same time, kind of. It's the same amount of price. Um, so maybe I would look at from a standpoint of, is the quality still the same? Not how much time, or like, I feel like if it's the quality is still the same, do it. 100% do it. If you actually can, be like, okay, this is my work. I'm just very concerned because I'm so a perfectionist when it comes to my work that I'm like, no one can do this. Maybe a little bit delusional, but I'm like, no one. No, no AI, no other person. I'm so a one picture at a time girl, um,
same.
and a little bit of a control freak, maybe, that I can't
And
really do that.
the arguments to the couple, if they say like, yeah, you're using AI, so you're faster, so why are the hours like the same? I think
But
it's
but it's because you charge by hour, hey?
yeah, in
Okay.
my case, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
So
there, I would definitely, I don't. So that's the thing. I've thought hard and long about charging hourly or per project, because if you charge hourly, they're like, why do you take so long? Why is it so expensive? Why do you take so long? But if you charge per project, you can do it in 30 minutes and still charge the same time because you're being paid
mhm,
for the time you learn it to be that fast. So I think maybe that's going back to that argument saying, okay, cool, I'm not going to do it with AI, so I'm going to do it more expensive. So do you want it faster? So what is more important to you? Like the
yeah.
product and having the value and having me doing it, or that it's fast? Because I mean, why should one be punished to do something fast? Because I'm this good. So why should I be punished and I'm this good and can give you a logo in 5 minutes? Or can give you a whole wedding day schedule in maybe 10 minutes. So I think maybe we need to, I don't know, but this is what goes through my head. What if we shifted? What if that's, for example, I mean, obviously I charge hourly of like a one hour photo shoot, but I never charge hourly of this is how much time I have pre-photo shoot, during photo shoot, and after photo shoot, because it's the whole package. It's my responsibility to be within my time frame, but everything else, who cares? Because then they start like, but why did you have 10 hours to edit this? You're a photographer, you've been doing this for 10 years. Why isn't it fast? And you're like, well, quality. And they're like, well, no, do it in 5. Kind of like you give them rig. That's in my opinion.
And
Obviously, yeah.
that's it. Like literally, like, yeah. You,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're responsible. Like if it takes you 100 hours to edit that gallery, that's on you. But you also set the price for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I also have some clients are so, like take a lot of time, and some clients don't. And they even each other out. Bye, Oriane. Thank you so much for joining and asking. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, Max.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one. So yeah, I don't know if that actually answers your question, but that's definitely what goes through my head, and I'm like, okay, because I never charge hourly in a sense of obviously a package of 12 hours for a wedding, or a package of, hey, we'll do a mentorship for 2 hours, where we on a Zoom call for 2 hours, but obviously all the work around it is way more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's something that you need to figure out for yourself. What if you have a look at that? I don't know.
I will. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. If no one else has a question, and if we've already gone over the 60 minutes, then I think we'll call it a quits now for this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. And I thank you all. Oh, there you go. Thank you all for coming. And yeah, being part of this, giving me the kind of space to talk to you and just, yeah, hopefully you were able to take something away, even if it's just a little bit. I think that's already a big thing. Yeah, it's step by step.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining, Carla.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Max.
guys. Bye, Karin. Bye, Max.
Bye.
Bye, Ona.
Bye.
Bye, Laura. Bye,
Bye,
bye, bye,
Max.
guys. Mwah.